Watch Mike Jensen of NBC Business News portray Fortune 500 companies as the destroyers of the American dream in their pursuit of profits. He seems to think that producing a profit is simply a matter of firing employees, and that the heartless companies always prefer the profits over the employees.
In the last 3 years, more than 1.5 million Americans have been laid off by companies that decided to downsize, fire people, or push them into early retirement. Why the downsizing? Survival. Some companies like Sears needed to close marginal stores and departments, start new ones. Other companies started manufacturing overseas where labor is cheaper. In 4 years, 1 million fewer factory jobs in America. Some companies simply decided to make more money by firing people. Corporate profits totaled about $400 billion last year, up 25%. What all those companies did was obliterate one of the keystones of the American dream, the security of a job for life. They created anxiety for everyone, even those who didn't get fired.
You don't have to sell them the rope they're trying to hang you with. Instead, you could help me provide the antidote to this poison with guests like Professor Williams. Do Fortune 500 companies fire workers so they can achieve profits because they're very greedy?
No. Well, I believe you might be asking a question about corporate downsizing. That's the term that they use nowadays.
Right.
And what that represents, what downsizing represents, is that companies are finding cheaper and more efficient ways of doing things. That is, they can do the same thing with less labor. And that's what you always want to do. And that's very, very important. That is, for example, years ago, when I believe it was AT&T downsizing, maybe they laid off 20 or 40,000 workers. Well, if AT&T was not downsizing, where would the other companies that are growing, where would they get their labor from? It's, one of the biggest downsizing in our country's history was in the agricultural industry. That is, in 1780, 95% of Americans were involved in agriculture. Now, less than 5%. Now, and that's considerable downsizing. That is, labor just went out of it. And if we did not find cheaper ways or more efficient ways of producing agricultural products, we could have never grown. We could have never grown as a nation. So downsizing is really companies finding more efficient ways to use labor.
Does firing employees always produce profits?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. That is, you can fire the wrong people. And moreover, if that's a no-brainer way to get profits. That is, General Motors just fires everybody. And what can you say about the profit? They would go down the tubes.
No profits at all, right?
That's right. They wouldn't have no output and no profit.
Sometimes you have to fire people. Sometimes you have to hire people. You have to know when you have to hire them and when you have to fire them. You have to exercise the proper judgment depending on how the consumers are responding to the goods or services that you're providing.
Absolutely. And many times, jobs disappear as a natural progress of economic growth. The stagecoach driver's job disappeared. The iceman's job disappeared.